Hey guys, it's Maymay, and today we're going to have more fun than you can imagine in our first official Christmas in July video. Now, this is going to be a parted video because I'm going to have to do this in multiple parts. And I had someone ask me recently why I don't show my finished product in the beginning of the video. Well, today's a good example. I don't have the finished product. We're going to make it together. I'm going to film it and let you see the process as we go, but we're doing something cool. So we're going to be using the Let It Snow 12 by 12 paper pack as well as the coordinating pack that goes with it. Now, all the products I'm going to use will be linked in the description for you guys, okay? And also, there's a blog post with all the information you need. I want to make sure I tell you that. The star of the show, a 49 and Market pre-made album. But we're going to do something. We're not going to do it this way. We're going to do it this way. And we're not just going to do it this way. We're going to stand it up and turn this into a little gingerbread house album. So stick with me. Now, the first piece we're going to do, this is a pretty thick piece of cardstock. It's not the thickest that I have, but it's pretty thick. And I'm going to be using this to make what will be the little roof piece for our album. We'll see how this goes, right? So here's what you need to do. You need a piece that is 9.5 by 4.5. And we're going to score it in a couple places. I'm going to score it at 1.5 and then at 8. And that's on the 9.5 inch side. Then I'm going to turn it and I'm going to score it at 1.5 and at 3. Now, let me say this to you. You could do this with chipboard. If you wanted this to be a sturdier piece, you could make this out of chipboard, just put your pieces together with some binding strips. That would be fine. I'm just going to use the cardstock because I think it will be fine for where it's going to be. And I am going to add some chipboard onto it. But this is what we're doing first. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to fold and crease all of my score lines here. And I'm going to try to be nice and straight. You see how thick this cardstock is? It's super thick, and I like that. That's why I think it's going to hold up just fine. I did a test of this piece of what it's going to be, and I just used regular cardstock, and to be honest, it would have been fine, but I thought, while I'm doing it, let's bulk this up a little bit. All right, so get everything lined up and creased, and we're going to make this kind of like we make a box, you know, like a box bottom. That's what it's going to be like. And this album won't make sense for a few minutes. Just hang with me, okay? But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so I'm going to take my cutter bees. These two squares here on the bottom are going to be the flaps that I turn into here to glue my box together. So what I want to do is I want to cut my score mark away from the long front flap. So you know what I mean by that? I tell you guys all the time that we're going to cut the score mark away. I want you to see what I did. Do you see how the score mark stays on the flap? And I took it off of this piece here. That's what I want to do. Let's see if we can do it up really close for you guys to see. This may not work, but we'll try. So I'm going to cut to the inside of the score mark, taking it off of the long flap and leaving it onto the tab. Now, why am I doing that? Because I'm going to angle cut and get rid of it all together because we don't need it. So do a little angle cut like that. The angle doesn't matter. You're just taking some bulk out and giving yourself a little bit of wiggle room. All right, do that here. And now I'm going to turn it around and do it on the other side just exactly the same. Exactly. There's no way to do exactly. It's paper craft, and we're going to do it real similar. All right, so there's that one, and then one more. Then we're going to fold this up and make it a box. Now, I also want to say this to you. When you're doing this at home, you may decide you want to change the length of this guy. I'll show you what I mean when we get it onto the box, but this is the length. It's 1.5 inches. You may decide you want that to be bigger, and if you do, you can make that adjustment, but I think it's going to be just enough for what we need. All right, bringing in some art glitter glue, I'm going to glue my little flap. So I'm going to add some glue here to these little pieces, and we're just going to close these in. I'll show you what I mean. So I've got that glue on the outside. I'm going to turn this in, and with that angle cut, I'm able to kind of wiggle this into place. See how I can kind of move it around so I get that nice crisp edge there? That's what you get when you do those angles. You just take some of the bulk, let me see if I can show you, out of here so you can wiggle that up and down as you need to. So we did that one. We're going to go ahead and do the other one. I should say here, if you can hear my fan in the background, I apologize. It's summer in the South, and this room I'm in gets pretty hot when my door's closed and I'm filming. We try to take the sound out, but if you hear that hum in the background, it's my fan. And just know, it keeps me cool. All right, let's close these two in as well. Okay, so there's what we've made. Solid top, open bottom, probably hard to see. There we go. open bottom, but here's where this is going to live. So our album will not stand up without a closure at the top, right? I want it to stand. So this guy is going to go onto the top like this, and it allows our album to open up inside of it pretty good. I'm going to turn it to the side and show you here. See how wide our album can open up? And now we can decorate this as a standing album. You see that? And I want you to know, I'm going to show you this because I want you to know this is going to work. If you remember, I did my Year with My Nomies album. By the way, the video for this is on the channel. We'll link it in the description. But we tested it with this because this is a full filled album, and I wanted to make sure it would work in a heavy album as well, and it does. Same process, okay? So that's where we're starting this guy. I just wanted to show you how that works. Now we need to make this look like a roof. So to make this look like a roof, here's what we're going to do. This piece is 7 1/4 by 2 1/2, okay? I want to come up here to the ends, and I'm going to make 2 pencil marks 3/8 of an inch in on both ends, okay? So let me show you what that looks like. If you're using a Tim Holtz ruler, 3/8 is going to be a dotted line, a solid line, and a dotted line. How about that? Now, I've taught you about measuring so many times, and I have a recent video where I show you that too. So if you need to check that out, we'll put that in the description too, because I do a lot of measuring in that one. Okay, just on one end, 3/8 of an inch in, and now you've already guessed what you're going to do. You're going to take it to your trimmer, and we're going to cut from our pencil mark to the corner opposite. Down here, sink your blade, you'll get a better cut, okay? Now what we're making here is a template, all right? I am gonna use this for my chipboard, but you know me, I like to make a template because then I can use it multiple times and not have to do all the measuring more than once. So I measure one time and now I have this template. So let's take it to the chipboard. And honestly, I don't even know that chipboard is a necessity here. I'm just gonna use it because I want kind of the body of it. I want it to kind of match the album cover to kind of feel the same when you pick it up. So that's why I'm using this here. So I'm going to trace this just like so. I'll also label this as my 49 and Market album rooftop. You see what I'm saying? So this template can live in my stash, and when I want to do this again, I can. And one thing I like to do is line these guys up. So I'm making one slice and getting 2 out of it. Does that make sense? I'll cut that one time, but I'll get 2 slices done from it. So tracing this all the way out. And now we can go to the trimmer. Using my chipboard trimmer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get this one. Now, with the chipboard that I'm using today, I'm using our thicker chipboard that we carry in the store. I have to do a double cut. And what that means is I have to cut through the top, and then I have to flip it over and cut through the bottom. So how I'm going to make that happen is I've done my half cut. Okay, my first cut. I'm going to come to the back side and I'm going to roll this over like this, and I'm going to crease this so I can see where my other cut is. It also helps the cut. It kind of just makes it easier when we get to it. So I've done that. Now I'm going to take it back to my trimmer, line this guy up, and then slice through that. Oh, I felt that go. That was good. And then we'll just bring that off. Now I've shown you when you get this kind of fuzzy part on your chipboard, just take the other piece that you cut off and you can kind of sand it away like this. Okay, I'm going to continue cutting this out, and I will use my finger blade to cut the points. Okay, so do that, get these shapes cut from your chipboard, and we'll get right back together. So we got our 2 pieces cut, and now they're going to live on here, but I'm not sure I'm going to put them on here yet. I think I may do some decorating and stuff first, but let me show you what's going to happen. They're going to get glued to the top like this, front and back, okay? And then when we place this onto our little album, I'll bring the album over and show you, it'll be like this. So see how we're starting to get the little kind of gingerbread house shape? Now, we're going to do some decorating here. This will hang a little bit longer, not much longer, but a little bit longer, and we're going to decorate the front as well. So I just wanted to show you how that's going to work, but I want to do all the covering and stuff of it first, and I haven't decided what papers go in where. So let's talk about that. Okay, so we need to cover our album, the front and the back, and this is the piece I want to use. I think the house would be cute done as this, as like the wall, the brick or whatever. I love this color. So this one actually comes from the paper pack, not the coordinating pack. And here's what I want you to do. When you're covering your album, always measure your album, your particular album. They can vary slightly in size. So even if I say cut this size for the front, go ahead and do a measure just to make sure yours will be right. Now I'm going to make an edit today. I want to use that blue paper front and back. So that means I'm not going to cut it where I normally would, which would be 6 1/4. I'm going to cut it to 6, which is going to leave me 1/4 of an inch border all the way around. But that allows me to use the same paper front and back. So that's what we're going to do. That it's our world. We can do what we want to do, right? So that's what we're going to do. So because of that, where we would normally cut this piece 6 1/4 by 8 1/4, I'm going to cut it 6 by 8. So I'm going to go ahead and do the 8" here. That way I have this longer piece of cardstock here I can use for something else. And then I'm going to cut this down to 6 inches, two times. So I just have to cut it in half. So this is what it's going to look like. Do you see how now we'll have 1/4 of an inch border all the way around? I'm fine with that. Our roof's going to be up here. We're going to decorate like this. This is going to be super cute, right? So I'm not going to glue this on first. And here's the reason. I don't want to fight this angle the whole time I'm decorating. I want to decorate this piece and then glue it all on at one time so I can lay it nice and flat. But I do want to know where I can work. So let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of float this in the where it would live, kind of like this, and then take this guy and place him at the top. Okay, nice and flush along the top of the album all the way across. Then I'm going to take my pencil and just make a line. This will let me know where my rooftop is. Okay, now I told you I'm going to have a little bit of a scallop hanging down like this. So I really only have to about here to decorate, but this lets me know not to do any fancy decorating there because that's where my roof is going to be, right? So we just need to make a mark. All right, now it is time to start the decoration. And at this point, I only know of one thing I want to use, so let me get that done. So I'm going to use this Lawn Fawn little picket fence die, and I thought this little red wood would make a cute picket fence. I want to put snow on this album, so instead of using a lot of white elements, I'm going to use a lot of colored things, so when I put snow on it, it'll really pop. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and cut a little picket fence from here for the front using my Gemini Junior. So here we are, my pencil mark at the top, and look, I just think this will be so cute here. I may cut this in half. I may only use pieces of it because I'm going to put the door in, so I may just let the door be in and have the fence on either side. I still don't know exactly how I'm going to lay this out, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a break, go to Pinterest and get some inspiration. Pinterest, Google, things like that, and decide how I want to lay my door out, and we'll be right back together. Okay, when we left off, we had cut this little fence because I knew I wanted to use it. Now, I decided to make life easy for me. Remember, I've not made this before. To make life easy, I was going to make patterns for myself, which is also good if I ever want to remake this, okay? So here's what I did. I decided on my two largest elements, or three really, but are my windows and my door. Okay, I knew I wanted them to look like this. Look at that face looking at you. You'll not be able to look away from that now, but I wanted my windows and my door to look like this. Okay, then in my research, I discovered the easiest way for me to make windows without a die or opening up the Cricut or any of that stuff would be to make little pieces that are my window panes, and they're gonna be crooked here, but when I put them on, I'll glue them down correctly. So I even made little patterns for this so I could know. See? Now, why am I showing you this? Because if you want to edit this in any way, I want to show you a way you can do it. Maybe you don't want your windows shaped like this, or maybe you want things different. Make yourself a little pattern. It's just like if you were sewing, right? I also wanted a stoop. Is it a stoop, a stair, a porch, something like that? So I made myself a little stoop. Okay. I also decided that I wanted my windows to have a place to kind of land so they wouldn't look so floaty. So I did this number. Now, what this does for me is it lets me know these are the pieces I need in color to decorate this. Okay. I even made myself a little wreath that's going to go on the door so I know exactly what size everything needs to be. This made sense to my brain. All right, this guy's going to live right behind here on either side of the door once I get it done, and there'll probably be a Christmas tree and stuff like that. All that can come later. But I just kind of needed to know the size of these guys. So then I did this, and this is where it can get fun. And for some of you guys, you don't love this part. This is where we start picking paper, okay? So I'm going to pull these guys off because I'm going to use white for my window frame. So I'm just going to use these to show you, okay? I'm going to use white for my window frames. I decided I want to use red window panes that look like snow. So see the little dots? This is all from the paper pack, okay? This is actually from big paper pack, not the coordinating one. So these guys are going to live like this. So this will be my windows. And of course, I'll line this up nice and neat. You could do either side. The other side has actual snowflakes, but these will be my windows. So I went ahead and made these. Now, we're going to give you all these dimensions in the blog post, but this one is 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches square. And then these little guys are 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. All right. So I have 4 for there too. Then I decided I wanted to put pink underneath them. So I made these little guys. These are 1/4 by 2 inches. These little pink pieces, 1/4 by 2 inches. Now you see this door is curved, right? I want this one to curve, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So before we go make the door, this little concrete stoop that's going to live here is 1/2 inch by 2.5. Okay? All right, let me show you how I made my door curve. Now, if you have a die, or if you want to do this on your Cricut machine or whatever, just do that. But I like to sometimes just do this stuff quick. So this little piece is 2 by 3, but it's not quite 2 inches. This is a 2-inch circle punch, okay? If I made it 2 inches, I couldn't do this, all right? But I want to be able to fit this in. So what I did was I lined this up at 2 inches on my punch, and then I just scooted it back over, not quite 1/8 of an inch, kind of in between. So then what I'm going to do is slide this in. And while ago when I did it, I had to give it a little bit of help down here. I just had to kind of lift it up and get it to slide in. And once it goes in there, you're golden, but it takes a minute to get it in there, at least for me. There we go. And what I want to do is pay attention to the lines and pay attention to the straight. And I want to put this as high to the top as I can. So see how I've got that in there? If I pulled it out a little, you'll see it, right? So we don't want to see it. I'm going to put it in there. And then I'm just going to look and make sure it's straight. I need to go up a little bit on that side. And that feels good. You still have a little bit of forgiveness room in a minute. So I'm going to punch that. And look, we get that little curved top. And this is what comes off of there, okay? So that's how I did my door. There's a million ways to do that, okay? If you don't have a punch, cut the rectangle, find something with a curve, trace it, trim it. You can do that in so many ways. Let's do the wreath. So in the paper pack, I wanted to bring this color green in, and these are the two I'm going to use for this. I'm going to make an old school punch wreath. We used to do these all the time, and here's how you do it. Taking my inner circle, and I'm going to punch it first. Doesn't really matter where it ends up on the page. I just want a green wreath, so I don't care if you can see tree or not. It's just the point of the color. So I've made the inner circle. Now I'm going to take a 1-inch scallop, and I'm going to go around it, centering that up as good as I can. I never get this perfect, but it's usually good enough because we're going to add a bow and everything too. Pop that out and look, little green wreath. Isn't that cute? So now that will live on our door. We'll pop it up when we do it. We can ink it so it can show really good. We can add ribbon, etc. That's how I did the rough design. Now there's one other piece I need to show you that I haven't designed yet we're going to do together. Okay, so for the roof, before I show you how to make it, I want to show you what I discovered. This is basically what I want to make, and I kind of just guessed on the height, and I was off. It's too tall, so I want to shrink it down. So here's what I want you to see. If you need to measure and know where you need to be height-wise, take a scrap of cardstock and go ahead and punch this like this so you see these two pieces, right? Then if you take your ruler, you can see exactly how much you need to add to the piece for your border punch. For this one in particular, I need to add 3/8 of an inch to my piece. So that's what we're going to do. So for these pieces, I need 2 pieces that are 2 7/8. And I'll trim them down after I get them onto the little chipboard pieces. But let's go ahead and do our border punching. So here's our cute little molding pieces. I think these are super cute. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to now place this onto my little roof section. I knew they'd be too big. That's okay. I wanted them to be. So I've got that like that. And then I'm just going to trim them off from the back. So I'm going to slide that up. And I think what I'm going to do is kind of pay attention to where this is laying so I can kind of balance out the design as best I can. I'm not going to be able to do it perfectly. That's probably my best shot at being fairly balanced. And now I'll just trace it so I can cut it. You could do this on your trimmer if you're nervous about cutting that straight. I think I'll be okay. And I also know a trick for if it hangs off a little bit, I can always use my nail file to kind of edge it out onto the chipboard like we do a lot of times. So this is what we will end up with. Won't that be a cute little roof? I'm not done. I'm going to add something else to it because I don't want my roof white. You'll see that in a second. All right, I'm going to do this one. Same way. Okay, so here's what I've decided to do with these guys. I've got these 2 little pieces here. And I say we because Shannon's helping me today, okay? So we cut this down to 7 1/4 by 2 1/4. And what I want it to do is I want the wood to run all the way across, but I want a little white edge at the top and at the bottom, okay? So I'm gonna let this piece tell me where to cut the angle. So these will get glued here, but not yet. And the reason is I want to ink all of my pieces before I glue everything down. But now I've got most of my pieces. We just need one more set. Let me show you those. So this is the little piece that we're going to glue our little roof to. And this won't show, and this won't show because our roof will get glued to it. But all the way around will. So what you're going to do is cut yourself some pieces to go there too. I'm going to use this little red stripe because it's cute. Right? So I'm going to put a piece here, and then we've cut pieces for the end. Now, this piece is 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. You need 2 of those. And then this piece is 1 1/4 by 6 1/4, I think. Let me measure that. It's been a minute. Nope. Yeah, 1 1/4 by 6 1/4. Again, all measurements are in the blog for you. But now I'm going to be inking, but I'm not going to ink the white pieces. Any of the white pieces, not the album, not this, none of the white pieces on the inside of the album, but I want to ink the colored pieces. Why is that? I don't want my album to look dirty. I want it to look like snow. And I don't really care for the look of this ink on the white album or on white paper, but I do think it will create dimension on my house to just go around and do this on all the pieces. Is it necessary? Maybe not. I don't know. But it's one of those things that if I don't do it now, if I put the album together and decide later I wish I would have, it's too late then, right? So I'm going to run around and I'm going to ink every piece that is from colored paper, okay? But nothing that is from the white. So see how that just kind of gives it like a glow? Not much, but just a little bit of a glow. I'm using... This is Vintage Photo. I usually use this or walnut stain. It really doesn't matter. You can even use like the same color. So say if you wanted to do this in red, you could do red around the red pieces, blue around the blue pieces, green around the green pieces, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to run off and ink everything, and then we get to put it together, which is my favorite part. I'm ready to glue this guy down. So all of these pieces are now inked and they're ready to start to be assembled. So what I'm going to do, this is the back of my album. I'm just going to put it aside for now. This is the front of my album where I have my little pencil line. What I'm going to do is start to assemble and just put on some Christmas music and let you watch me do it. Okay, so now I've got pretty much everything kind of together. Let me show you the little house. Now remember, it's not perfect. Like my windows are not perfect, but I don't want it to look perfect. I want it to look handmade. So this is where we are here. Now let's talk about this guy. Now it's time to really assemble him. So let's bring over our chipboard pieces, and I need to apply these to our chipboard. And what I want to decide is, do I need to put a paper here? I think I will, and let me show you why. This is not going to cover this completely. Do you see how this is going to go like this, and there's going to be some of that brown showing? When you take this off, this won't be super cute. So I'm going to cover the back sides of my chipboard pieces as well. I may just do them in white. Let me see. So I am going to do them in white. I had a piece of scrap left over that I was using, so I'm going to go ahead and do that and just cut these guys down and cover them in solid white. Okay, now we can assemble the whole thing. So let's put these on the front. Let's go ahead and get our little roof pieces on. I'm excited it's starting to come together. This has taken a while. Like, there's been a lot of design gone into this, a lot of thinking ahead of time. But hopefully by me getting this part done for you, it'll make it easier when you go to do it, because you can just kind of do all the pieces and parts I'm showing you and not have to do all the design work too. All right, so I'm going to put that little guy on, press that down. Yeah, I like it in white. I really want this album to feel chilly, you know, cold, so I like that. All right, let's put this one on this side. And now we can apply them to our little box closure. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to apply glue here. Now, if you are more comfortable using sticky tape here, go right ahead. You might even want to use a combination of both, considering this is going to get a lot of use. But I'm pretty confident in my art glitter glue, and I just want to make sure I get it everywhere I need it. Now, on the white side, we're going to glue this down, and we're going to line our little box up to the top, edge to edge at the top. You might even want to stand it up. Just kind of press everything together. Check from side to side. So see, it'll look like this. Look at our little roof. It's going to be so cute. All right, now we're going to do this side. Now, let's put our cover onto our book and our back onto our book. You just remember to have your book facing upward, because your lid will go at the top, and get your spacing good all the way around. And see how I didn't ink the white album? I just don't like that idea on the album. I just think it would look dirty. But I do like it on our paper to give dimension. You see that? Even the white windows, I didn't want to do the ink. All right, I'm going to turn this over and do the back side. Now, when we put our roof on, and I'm going to stand it up to do it and then reveal the front to you. So all you do, your little box roof is now going to fit like this. And I want to show you what I meant by you can make it taller. Wait till y'all see this. It's adorable. Look at this. Look how cute. So little work to make this actually happen. When I told you earlier, if you wanted this to be taller, you could extend this. I think that worked out the right height. I'm afraid if you went any further, when this guy fills up, it might start to touch in this area, but I don't know. It's doing pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that, and I'm excited to keep going. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is going to be part one. Let me tell you why it's going to be part one, because I'm not through on the front. Remember, we still have our little fence. We're going to decide how and where it's going to go. I want to add other little decorations, but I also want to get started on the inside, and I want to give you a little insight. This is going to be a Prompted Memories 12 Days of Christmas album. That's the plan for the inside. So come back for part two. We'll make sure to link part two in here too if you're watching part one. If part two is up, it'll be in the description. If not, it'll be on my channel. Be sure to subscribe and set notifications so you don't miss when that comes up. It'll be my next video after this one, but I'm super excited for you to see what we're doing next. But isn't this cute, and wasn't this easy? Like, I didn't have to build a box. I'm just using the pre-made album. I'm going to turn it to its side so you can see. Just doing the pre-made album and letting it do most of the work. I'm loving it. I'm going to spread this out even further because it will. And I'm just excited to see this guy all completed. Hey, thank y'all so much for being here for part one. Don't forget to subscribe. Be sure also, if you're going to make one of these with me, head over to my customer gallery and put pictures of your progress. Or you can also go to our Facebook group, which is MaymayMadeIt, and so did I. We reopened it recently. If you'd like to head over to our Facebook group, join the group, and then see other people's or share photos of yours, we'd love to see you. Well, we have a lot to do here. I can see lots of decorations that need to come, but it's going to be fun to do. All right, I'll see you in part two. Thanks so much. Bye now.